the configuration part, that's what we define. So in the configuration part, what we need to verify first need to the application.yml files. So application.yml file, this is very straightforward. The structure, format, the location of the application YAML files. You see the YAML files, it has definition that's we discussed. It has a Spring Boot data sources, it has a driver and URL. So this is the database host name that's we define into the config, Postgres config files. So those are new into the Kubernetes or any writing the YAML files or YAML files. Please Google it and try to understand the basic understanding of the Kubernetes configuration files or structure. So we define the config maps. Config maps, you see the kind is config map version 1 and meta information, the name of the farm, the config Postgres, and then it has a host and it has a database names. And then if you see there is we defined here. So let's open the credentials. So in the credential file, you see the type is secret with the meta informations, and then we define the database username and password. This is the base 64 encoding username password. You just base 64 encoded and the username and password of the database and put it there in here. But you can Google it. You can also use the command to build a base 64 encoded with your username and password of your database. What I did it here just like this. So here there's you see that we defined our config maps. That means in the host, which host we are, and then we define the database names, and then here that we define the secret. We define the data username and password is base 64, and then we define the Postgres database service and deployments. You see the kind is service, the meta information, Postgres everything. We define the Postgres and it has a port number, default port 5432, and the selectors in Postgres and the entire tier in the database and class type null, and it has definition of the persistent volume claims. But those are new in the persistent volume of claim meanings. Please Google it and then you can get clear idea how it works, why we need the persistent volumes. So because if you see in the Docker desktop tools, you see all the volumes, so the persistent volumes. What is volume definitions? Volumes is mounting your local directory to the container directory. So that means when your application started, and when your application started, then it's take your previous data records into your volumes. So it's mount with your local directory, your host directory to the container directory, and then it's sync to your database. So it take times. I don't know what happening. So it's take times. Let's see how long it's take. So it will showing all the volume informations. Let's go back there. So it has volumes, the persistent volume claims, and the it has names, and the kind is persistent volume claim type, and has a size of the volumes. It has applicant Postgres and database tiers, and then deployments, Postgres deployments, and then most important part is specific spec part, and then most important part, this is the image. We are taking the image from the GitHub, the Docker hubs, and then this is if you don't define the tag numbers or version numbers, it's automatically take the versions. Let's Postgres image from the Docker hubs. So and then also on so forth, and we define the secret maps as secret key. We already defined the credentials in the secret maps, the Postgres credentials name, and also the Postgres config maps. If you see the name is the Postgres credentials, and has a key, has the user Postgres user. We define the variables that if what user Postgres user, and also we name the new names in Postgres variables, the parameters or environmental variables, Postgres password, and we read the secret key again. That's the same secret key, and then it has a password, and then we put it the database name. We have CC the config maps. We name the config maps. This is the config map. It has a name, and then and so on and so forth. It has the container name, port ID, Postgres ID, and this is the volumes definition of the your Postgres, the local in the container port, your host is mounted to the container, and then he has the name of the volumes. You see the volumes and the claim names, the Postgres privacy data persistent volume claims. So it's straightforward. So you don't need to remember everything into the these files, because you can Google it, you can take this file, but in the end of the day I will put the source code and the complete project into our UVSoftGroup GitHub. You can take from there also. So that means we define our deployments, our services, our credentials, our configs, our secrets, and then build this secret and credential services out of our configurations, how the kubectl API is need to be run. Let's have it the other part of the what I mean, how it is to be handled. Okay, I forget to take this one. So if you see this is the structure, that's if you we can make a, maybe we can open the one PowerShells to see how it is look like. PowerShell. For all the configurations what we have, when we defined all the configuration, then we create the new version of your standalone jar files. So just simply go the copy paste your base URL, and then run the copy, and then run the copy and open the PowerShell PowerShell with the administrative